Welcome back to Never Meet Your Heroes here with 19 Media Group. Jabari Davis back here with you, and I'm very excited about today's panel of guests. We're going to start it off with my guy, Pete Corrado. He's a writer for hire where, you can find some of his bylines at GQ and the New York Times, amongst other places. And he's also the author. I'm kind of burying the lead, really, because he's the author of From Hang Time to Prime Time, get it right, Jabari. From Hang Time to Prime Time, which Pete does an outstanding job at exploring the business, entertainment, and the birth of the modern day NBA, which, of course, you're also going to find a link to purchase in the description of today's show, and it comes highly recommended. Pete, how you doing today?
Good, Jabari. How are you?
Not bad. Once I can actually, respectfully, get the title of your book right, I'm doing okay.
Don't worry about it. I've had people actually forget the title of the book, so you're already way ahead of the game. So
again, comes highly recommended, folks. Highly recommended. But anyhow, let's keep it going. We also have the Mojo King, he's calling himself. He is the host of two different shows for 19 Media Group. We're obviously proud of each of those shows. He's the host of HipHop Hidden Gems, as well as Hidden Gems Golf. It's a daily fantasy sports golf show. Mo, thanks for joining today.
Thank you. I appreciate it, man. I'm just trying to make myself big enough that I could be featured on one of your shows and then disappear from the planet.
No, we don't want that. We don't want that side of things. We don't want that side of things. This is consider this your feature here.
All right.
And then we also have Mo's partner, Willie Freeman. He is the co-host of the Hip Hop Hidden Gems, as you can see in his bio. Thank you for joining us today, Willie.
Thanks. Nice being here, man.
No, absolutely. I appreciate each of you guys for joining. All right, Pete. So we're going to start with you. Why don't you let the folks know, give them a little bit of background, and then, obviously you're not going to preview all of him Hang Time to Prime Time, but kind of tell them what it's all about.
Yeah, sure. Basically, the book covers the NBA's rise from sort of a cultural afterthought, almost a second-rate professional sport, into into this giant entertainment and cultural and business behemoth. So the book covers the years 1975 to 1989, starting with Larry O'Brien's start as the NBA commissioner to NBA signing its lucrative TV deal with NBC Sports. So the book covers sort of all the cultural, sociological, and business factors that led to the NBA's rise in just under 15 years. So yeah, I've talked to you about, 315 people for the book, and kind of a labor of love. So yeah, I'm really proud of it. And it's I think, it's the kind of book that I would have enjoyed to read if I were a basketball fan. Like if I found this giant orange thing in the library, I would have been like, oh, I got to read this. So yeah, that's the book in a nutshell.
Yeah, without question. And honestly, what I really appreciated about it, and it's crazy to think I read this last year, I think.
Okay.
When it comes to the last 2 years, it all kind of blends in. So I really have no concept of time. But what I appreciate is that you're really, as the reader, you're going on that journey. Yeah, and it truly feels like through the anecdotes, through through the different examples that you give, it truly feels like you are on that roller coaster. So I really do appreciate that. And for anybody that's not aware of the history of the NBA, especially back then, look, during the 80s, the NBA finals were still on tape delay.
Mm-hmm.
Like where we are now, where we can watch the NBA on our phones or watch it, anywhere. That's not where this was, within our lifetime. So
yeah.
All right, we'll come back to that. I appreciate. You know what, Pete? Before we leave off, who are a couple of your heroes coming up?
Oh man,
it is the show.
Oh yeah, well yes. Heroes. It's funny. It's kind of a hodgepodge. As a kid, I got into writing by reading movie reviews, and one of my earliest literary heroes was Roger Ebert. My grandfather died in 1989, and he left behind a giant library in his basement in Queens, of all places. And every so often my family would go down to his house, which was then my grandmother's house. So we'd go through all these books, and I came across a collection of Roger Ebert reviews from 1985 or 1986, and it just hit me where I live. And not only because I was a movie guy or movie buff, but I just thought the writing was so concise and so eloquent and just so just so genuine. You know, you read, I think with a tendency, there's a lot of movie reviewers, there's a tendency for them to maybe wear their knowledge on their sleeve and be a little too pretentious. But Roger Ebert wrote movies for just anybody who loved the medium or who loved to read. And I was swept away. So aside from Roger Ebert, you know, this is we were just talking before about, you know, controversial people in media. Another one of my heroes when I got into movies was Woody Allen, which as time has gone on I've kind of abandoned that fandom for obvious reasons. And then, you know, growing up too, like as a basketball fan, like Kevin McHale was one of my first, you know, basketball heroes, and Patrick Ewing as well. Those were two guys, like as a tall teenager, like I kind of looked up to them in terms of, you know, post play. Like this was the 90s. So like we weren't big guys weren't going up and shooting threes like they are now. So yeah, those are like a few of my heroes growing up that we kind of, when I look back, like those are my formative heroes for sure.
So Pete, the only one I'm going to attack you on is Bill Laimbeer. We would have been mortal enemies if that was your guy. That we would have been mortal enemies. But
see,
it would have come from a place of respect.
See, I'll tell you a funny Bill Laimbeer story because I don't want to hold up the show here. But growing up, I did like Bill Laimbeer because as a slow white dude who couldn't jump but could shoot from the outside, Bill Laimbeer was sort of like, oh yeah, my spirit animal a little bit. But then I did a piece for Grantland about the '83 All-Star Game and Marvin Gaye's national anthem, and I started calling players for the piece. First player I spoke to was Bill Laimbeer, and Bill Laimbeer was just a ceaseless asshole. Like he was just the most unlikable guy that I talked to among all the players. And I talked to maybe 5 or 6 players of the piece, and they were wonderful. You know, Marcus Johnson was great, Isaiah Thomas, Reggie Theus. Bill Laimbeer treated me like I was peddling aluminum siding at his house. He was the worst. So after that, like the last strains of appreciation for Bill Laimbeer went right out the window. So yeah.
You know what? I really do appreciate that story because I didn't know that about him, but it's one of those where it's like, yeah, I'm not shocked.
Well,
all right, so let's
yeah. Okay, sorry about that.
No, no worries. Let's swing it around. And Willie, I'm actually going to come to you first with this because Willie, like I said, you know, we're just getting to know one another. He's been a part of, Hip Hop Hidden Gems. I certainly have appreciated hearing his content. Can you let the folks know about Hip Hop Hidden Gems and kind of your background?
Yeah, well, Hip Hop Hidden Gems is a brainchild of Mojo King, and it's born of the two of us talking hip hop for the past, I don't know, 20, 25 years now. So I'm from a small town, from Greenwood, South Carolina. And you could live in South Carolina and you may be aware of Greenwood or you may not. But the hip hop culture as it was back in the golden era, was not present there at the time. So me growing up with heroes, Big Daddy Kane was my first hip hop hero without question. One, it was one of the first albums I ever got, but 2, he came to our town and our civic center every summer for about 5 or 6 years and would bring all kinds of people with him, EPMD, DJ Quick, Chubb Rock, everybody. But Kane was always that guy for me. The show talks about gems, things that we feel people have maybe overlooked or they didn't get the amount of light they should have. Sometimes singles, maybe sometimes not, but songs that are from artists that people from that era may have heard of because we're lovers of hip hop from that age. But there are times where you have that song that blew up, but then there's that really amazing work of art that did not get that same amount of radio play or the same amount of, video light. And we do deep dives into those things on the show.
All right, so desert island situation, you know these ridiculous scenarios. You can pick 3 artists. Now, for the listeners out there and for the viewers out there, I didn't prep him for this, so forgive me for that. But you can pick 3 artists, and that's the only 3 artists you can listen to. And obviously, I'm guessing that they're going to be, some hip hop hidden gems. Who are those artists?
Their entire catalogs.
You can get their entire catalog and their features. We're going to go take the extra leap. Somehow you prepped for this, and you've got it all.
So first would be Big Daddy Kane. Second would be Public Enemy.
Yes.
And The third for me would probably be a new guy that's out now called Seven. He's from a newer generation of music right now. But those would be the three where album for album I can dive in at an extended period of time.
I like it. All right, and let me get a couple heroes before we swing it to Mo.
All right, Kane, Chuck D, and Shock G would be three that are big heroes for me.
R.I.P. Shock G, absolutely. All right, Mo, you know the deal.
All right. Well, you want the heroes or you want a crazy basketball story? Because I got one of those.
I'll take it all. Let the folks know about both of your shows. I mean, obviously, Willie just gave them the breakdown on hip hop, but let the folks know.
Well, the thing was, I would say, because both of them are hidden gems, and I think my main thing is that I just like looking outside the box. I rather find something myself outside the box than just see the popular thing that everybody loves inside the box. So with both shows, and even the fact that I'm talking about golf, when my history is fantasy sports, basketball, baseball, football to some degree, but I pivoted over to golf just because I like being different. So, and then with the hip hop stuff, like, everybody knows Pac, everybody knows Biggie, everybody knows Wu-Tang. I'm like, all right, let's go find something else. And even if we do tap into a popular artist, let's find an unpopular song that should be popular. So that's basically what we're doing what I'm doing both gems.
Look, I'm going to keep it real with you. I've never once even considered watching golf. Like I recognize I came up when Tiger was coming up. So like I would watch Tiger and see like, oh, did he make that shot? Cool. That is a good shot. Great. That's all I cared about. Mo has me listening to a daily fantasy sports show of a sport that I don't even pay attention to. So I honestly, I'm also one of those ones that I kind of appreciate, thinking outside the box or, looking along the margins on things. So I think that's the meticulous nature that you go about it. I appreciate. But okay, let me get some of your heroes before we kick things off.
All right. Like I said, I like thinking outside the box. So I would say I go two different directions and it makes no sense. I like the high class people. So I remember my father introduced me to Dr. J. He was, pretty much past his prime, but so I went along those lines. In baseball was Dave Winfield and then Derek Jeter. But also I like the people that are just buttholes. So I like Latrell Sprewell. I love Latrell Sprewell.
Yes.
I love Barry Bonds.
Mm-hmm.
I just like people that I like a lot of people. I love Derek Coleman.
Okay.
So I go very different separate directions.
So here's one for you. As a lifelong Dodgers fan, I used to always have to hide it. I like Barry too. Man. Because look, I recognize how that sounds. But when you can mash the way that dude can mash, and you just didn't give a damn the way that he didn't give a damn, there was something about that. There was something about that I just appreciated.
More is always better. That's why MyBookie instantly doubles all first-time deposits. With double the funds, you can double your action, and more importantly, double your wins. Getting in on the action has never been easier. Just use promo code HEROES to get started. And look, the best part is I can bet with all my favorite currencies, including crypto. And with all that extra scratch, why not get in on the biggest matchups of the week at MyBookie? We're getting pretty close. Matter of fact, we're inching closer to the NFL playoffs. And we got some pivotal matchups coming up this weekend. There's a showdown between divisional rivals, the San Francisco 49ers and the Los Angeles Rams. Behind MVP candidate Matthew Stafford, the Rams are looking to continue rolling as they take on a fierce 49er defense. The Rams are legit. Bet them to cover the spread at MyBookie. And don't wait. Head to MyBookie to redeem your double deposit bonus. They didn't make that easy, but make sure you do that. Head to MyBookie to redeem your double deposit bonus so you can get started and start winning tomorrow. To get yourself started, use promo code HEROES to receive double your first deposit instantly. That's promo code HEROES so you can double your funds to double your winnings. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie.
Old school NBA guy. We got old school hip hop guys on the panel. So I wanted to come up with something a little bit different for today's episode. So we're going to consider this, like I said, a crossover episode. I asked Mo and Willie for a list of some hip hop artists and groups that not only do they plan on covering for hidden gems, but that they're, that it would kind of work for this. Then I turned around and asked Pete, to give some NBA comps for each of those players and teams. So in order to kind of set this up to smooth this, Pete, I'm going to go ahead and throw, we're going to run through about 5 or so of these. I'm going to throw these at you. You give me the comparison, and then we'll let kind of everybody respond to it.
Okay, yeah,
So
go ahead. Mhm.
the first group we've got is Goody Mob. Who's the NBA comp for Goody Mob?
Yeah, for me, the first thing that came to mind was those OKC teams with James Harden.
Okay.
Just again, like this talented group where one guy kind of gets hidden a little bit, then breaks off and becomes a superstar. Now, I will be clear here. This is not an endorsement of James Harden as a basketball player. I am not a James Harden fan. But that was the one that came to mind. Yeah, I don't know. Harden to me, it's funny with Harden. He puts up great numbers, but I just, and I know he's successful and he's been to conference finals and blah blah blah. But like, I don't know, I just can't get it up for the guy. But that was the one that came to mind.
So is James Harden the CeeLo of the group?
Yeah, I think. JLo is the CeeLo of the group, but it's kind of a weird thing because like also in that group is it's funny with OKC you also have Westbrook and Durant. So like, I don't know, that might be kind of might be more NWA, but I don't know. That was the first one that came to mind. But NWA, I think there's a better example for NWA.
Yeah, they're coming up, and honestly, the example you gave I thought was absolutely perfect. Yeah. Either of you guys have thoughts on that comparison?
I like it. I think, as Pete pointed out, it's kind of tough to say that Harden would be CeeLo because CeeLo clearly ended up being the solo star. Right. So it's kind of tough because you have Durant and Westbrook. But I like it because I love all the talent. I love all of them in the group. So like Timo and Gip, they're super talented too. So I like it.
I got you. All right, we'll keep it going.
Okay.
Up next, Digital Underground.
Oh, that was a tough one. There are like 5 examples with this, like that I thought of, and the first one that came to mind was, and I'm going to go back here because again, and your listeners might be like wondering who the hell this guy is, but the first example that came to mind was Paul Westphal at the Celtics. Mm-hmm. So Paul Westphal is a bench player with the Celtics when they win their 2 championships in 74 and 76. No, 74. Sorry, 74. He gets traded to the Suns and becomes a superstar. He puts together 5 great seasons where he's an all-star every year, makes all NBA, and eventually becomes a Hall of Famer. And there are a couple other examples too that came to mind. Alex English with Indiana and Los Angeles before he broke out with Denver. There's also Bernard King in New Jersey before he goes over to the Knicks and becomes a superstar. And the other one that people forget is Moses Malone with Portland and Buffalo before moving on to Houston and Philadelphia and becoming a Hall of Famer. So yeah, I don't know. I think those are the ones that come to mind. I mean, I think there are parallels there.
For the listeners and viewers out there that may not be aware of what the exact comparison is, the reason why I loved that they brought Digital Underground up is specifically because while yes I appreciated Digital Underground as a group, there's a person in the background that's just waiting to kind of break out.
Yeah, that's what the funny thing is. Yeah, it's crazy, and that's one of those things when I first heard, I was like, really? He was in that? He was in the group that did the Humpty Dance? Like, but yeah, it's crazy. I mean, here's the thing. I think the easiest comparison, the best comparison with is Alex English, because Digital Underground was in Nothing But Trouble, the Dan Aykroyd, Chevy Chase movie. Alex English was a few years later in Amazing Grace and Chuck, the nuclear war parable. So I think because of the movie parallels, maybe Alex English gets the nod. But again, this is. I'm not going to hold on to dear life with this comparison.
Here's my only Alex English thing I got for you. And this one, in my 40s, it still stings. I'm walking through LAX with my mom. I'm probably like 10 years old. Like I'm still a youngin.
Okay.
I see a tall guy in the crowd. I'm like, okay, yeah, cool. We're walking. My mom stops dead in her tracks. That's Alex English. Y'all know that stop, and y'all know that tone. Y'all know that stop, and y'all know that tone. And she didn't need to say another word. I was like, let's keep going. I don't know him. He's not a Laker. No, it's time to go. That's my Alex English for you. All right, we'll keep the comparisons going.
Okay.
Here's the one that'll be fun. NWA.
Okay. You brought this up, and I thought it was a perfect comparison. University of Michigan teams with Weber and Jalen Rose and Juwan Howard. Because to me, NWA, look, I mean, I don't know nearly as much about hip hop as the three of you do. I mean, I think in your little finger, you guys have more knowledge than I do overall. But NWA really, to me, was one of those mainstream artists that brought hip hop culture into, into like suburban America. They were just huge. And also you have the carryover effect with, with Ice Cube and Dr. Dre. To me, it's University of Michigan's the same thing because they brought those same hip hop elements, or that same, I guess they really were the first hip hop basketball team. You had I think you had individuals before. They had Jordan, later on you had Allen Iverson, but University of Michigan was just a whole squad that was just that sort of just represented like a hip hop ethos. So to me, it was no question. I mean, I think it's University of Michigan's basketball team in 91, 92, and 92, 93 for sure.
So this is I'm absolutely we got to bring Willie and Mo in on this one because this comparison was my favorite my favorite one, specifically because I think for me as so bear in mind I'm in my I'm like 10 and 89, right? Mm-hmm. So unfortunately I shouldn't be listening to NWA, but I am listening to NWA. I shouldn't be enjoying all of that, but I definitely I'm already inundated with it. I almost feel like those players, and I don't want to speak for them, but I almost feel like they had to have been influenced by them because they were coming of age at in the late 80s and obviously coming to in the early 90s. What do you guys think about that comparison?
Yeah, well, when you talk about them being influenced, I can see that clearly because even the dress, they had the baggier shorts. Because remember, around that time, they were still wearing those tighties.
Oh, we were wearing short shorts.
But they changed it up. They had they had the baggy shorts, and I think they had like the dark socks, which was different too. Then I would say that definitely was based off of hip hop, definitely.
Yeah, I wasn't following college ball at the time, so I couldn't give you a good connection to that at all for the 80s. No. It was hip hop and nothing else. I wouldn't even listen to other genres of music.
Honestly, I understand that.
It was strictly hip hop for me at the time.
I got you. So, all right, we're just gonna run through these really quickly. It's Cube. Who's Cube in the Fab Five? Is that C Web?
I think that makes sense to me. Yeah, I was going to see I thought I think that makes sense to me. Yeah.
And because if Cube is C Web, then maybe Jalen is Dre. He's running point. Mm-hmm. This is where it gets tough because look. Yeah. A lot of people now would they're not necessarily gonna love Easy as an artist, but like if you were there, you would understand how big of an artist is. So I almost feel like some of the hip hop heads will say like, oh, you're being disrespectful by like giving him Juwan, but I actually think it's a good comparison.
So well, how do you think that lines up? Like how do you have Easy and Juwan line up?
Just that they were. I guess Juwan is the less heralded, but still very effective, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's a good comparison.
All right, I can see that then.
It's not these aren't exact, and this is where it gets entertaining. So is Jimmy King Ren, and and honestly, I love Ren, and I feel like Ren is probably the most underrated in the group, but it's probably Jimmy King in this scenario. And you know how we're ending this. I mean, you know how it is. Ray Jackson is yellow, man. Ray Jackson is yellow. He just is.
Yeah, I couldn't remember who the fifth member of the Fab Five was, and you have to put yellow there.
Yeah. Hey, all right. Couple more comparisons. Mm-hmm. Up next, we got Gangstar. Now, I'm gonna tell you the truth, Pete. Here's the how the sausage is made. I've already seen Pete's answers on this. Mm-hmm. There's one that I was like, oh, okay, fine.
Yeah, you're talking about duos, right? I mean, To me, you could put a few here. To me, it's Stockton and Malone first, Samson and Olajuwon, and here's sort of a sneaky one that I don't know if many people remember, but back in the ABA days with the Virginia Squires, like 72, 73, Dr. J and George Gervin played together. So that to me was like a twosome that kind of gets overlooked a little bit. I mean, you could also put for a little bit. You also could put as a sort of a honorable mention the few days that Pistol Pete Maravich and Dr. J played together with the Atlanta Hawks, because there was a bit of a contract snafu where the Hawks claimed ownership to Dr. J, and that was quickly killed. But yeah, for a little bit, like in training camp, they were together. So yeah. But which one made you recall? Was it Stockton Malone?
It was a Stockton Malone. And look, shamelessly, I'm going to remind folks you can tune into our Karl Malone episode from last week at all of the places, where you might tune in. It wasn't a bad comparison. It was just that.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is with these two, with Stockton Malone, like when I was growing up, they were it, because like because again, if you're, to me, Stockton Malone for an unathletic kid was perfection, because here are two guys running the most basic basketball play, the pick and roll, to perfection, and they just do it every way till Sunday. But it's funny, as time has gone on, and I become an adult and read more widely, and listened to other viewpoints outside my own, like Karl Malone, not the nicest guy, like has a long history of problems with underage girls, and Stockton has come out as being like an anti-vax lunatic, which is not exactly doesn't warm my heart. So yeah, but back in the day, those guys were just I love those guys when they were on NBA and NBC. That was like appointment television for me.
Pete,
please go ahead.
I got a question. Would you go? What about the idea of Kemp and Payton from Seattle?
Ooh, that's a good one. That's a good one. That's a really good one. I didn't even think about those guys. That might be that. It's funny. Those guys should have been Stockton and Malone. I mean, if you think about it, they should have. If the Sonics don't sign Jim McIlvaine and pay him way more than Shawn Kemp, who I think was still stuck on that rookie contract, like that, they should have been the Stockton Malone. But now they're just they're kind of an afterthought a little bit, which is a shame, because they were great. They were great together. But yeah, I would also put Kemp and Payton in there for sure. I love those guys.
Now you just have me thinking, and now we're going to go even deeper in it. Now you just have me thinking about those two playing for Jerry Sloan as opposed to George Karl, and my nerd brain will go. I'm intrigued. I'm interested in the Jerry Sloan GP connection, because on the surface we might think like, oh hell no, but as a crazy way, I think that might work.
Gary, it's funny, Gary, there's a clip floating on YouTube. You guys I'm sure will be able to find it, where Gary Payton goes on for like 10 solid minutes as to why John Stockton was the toughest opponent he ever faced, better than Michael Jordan. And he's actually like trying to really spin the argument. So I can honestly see Gary Payton playing under Jerry Sloan. And because I think maybe he had the work ethic and the basketball IQ that Jerry Sloan would have liked. I don't know, but I don't know. Utah's not a great place to play for a bunch of reasons. So I'm not sure it would have worked that well, but I don't know if you can play well. I think you can make any town your own, though. I don't know. I might be wrong about that.
Make this 2 consecutive weeks where the citizens of Utah will be upset with us. Shout out to you guys. Hey, leave us a review. All right,
they'll be okay.
They'll be fine. They'll be fine. All right, the last one we have here, and I'm actually interested in hearing from you guys, from Willie and Mo, on when this episode is eventually going to come out. But the comparison is the Fugees. Who are the Fugees?
Okay, well, to me, I think this is one of my favorite answers, because like I'm a basketball nerd. So when you gave me the Fugees, I thought it's got to be Mark Ivaroni in the 83 76ers, because you have like a whole lineup of all-stars in the starting five. You got Moses Malone, you got Dr. J, you got Bobby Jones, and you got Mo Cheeks, and then you have Mark Ivaroni playing I think the 4 spot. So it's like, to me, if you have Lauryn Hill, Praz, and Wyclef, it's very much like which one of these is not like the other.
Praz has been taking shots. Praz has been taking shots for 30. It feels like 30 years now. Yeah. But honestly, that's the truth. Like that's the truth. Lauren is probably Moses in that situation. I think it for that year. What Moses was like 25 and 15. That year, something like that.
Yeah, he was the motor of that team for sure. Yeah.
So Clef is Dr. J. Praz. I mean,
Not bad.
When are some of these episodes coming up, guys? Because like I said, I'm chomping at the bit for them.
Well, the official first episode, because obviously we had episode 0, but the official first episode is I'm actually just editing it now, so it's pretty much done. And actually the episode after that is halfway done itself, so we're definitely coming down the line. I don't know, Will, do you want to talk about who it is, or are we going to give them a preview on here?
You don't have to, but we'll take it if you offer.
I tell you what, it's a duo. If you can guess who it is, you get 2 guesses. We'll confirm. Otherwise, you got to wait.
It's a duo.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, okay, all right, fine. I'm going to cheat. Have they been named in this conversation?
Indeed.
Your turn, Pete. That was my guess.
Let me think.
I think I know who it is, though.
I was gonna mention someone completely different. Let me think here.
Who are you going to mention?
Stockton and Malone.
Who was your guess?
Well, my guess before you guys revealed was gonna be Outcast, but that might be a little too mainstream. So,
my favorite of all time, I'll admit.
Yeah, we might end up digging into that a little bit because we're both big Outcast fans too. So
yeah, definitely. But no, it's a group that it's a duo that we've already discussed during this episode.
All right, we'll leave the mystery, even though it premiere and all of that. Yeah, that's where my guess is on it.
You'll wait for the premiere.
We'll wait for the premiere. We'll wait for the premiere. I'm excited about it. All right. Before we get out of here, this was also part of pre-production, and this was the part where I'm going to be honest with you. I had to reach out to Mo and say, "Hey, man, what's up with Willie? What's going on? Is he going to be a problem on this show?" No, I kid, kind of. Since this is going to come out, we're in the holiday season. 'Tis the season, of course. You're already hearing the music in the stores and all of that, right?
Yeah.
I want, again, obviously, so thanks, for Turkey Day, Thanksgiving, whatever you look at it as, a gathering of your family. Oftentimes there are 10, 15, however many courses, right? We're going to limit this to 3. Mm-hmm. Let's start off with you, Mo. What are your 3 go-tos if you have to go?
All right. Now I'm being dead serious with this. All right. I'm dead serious. You ready? I get plate 1, mac and cheese.
Yes.
I get plate 2 and plate 3 together.
Oh, these are plates.
Mac and cheese. I'm getting mac and cheese, mac and cheese, mac and cheese. 3 plates, mac and cheese. I don't need anything else. Don't give me that turkey. I'll take the turkey, throw it somewhere. I don't want it. I don't want your yams. Get that out of the way.
No
mac and cheese.
No. Now, I'll tell you, when people put, and you know what, I'm gonna offend people, and I'm saying this, tongue in cheek, but when people put marshmallows on yams, I understand if you want to slap them in the face with that. Some of my family members, no disrespect, y'all do that, and I always wonder. But yams, man, none, no, okay,
nope.
All right, now we're gonna come to Willie with this because again, Willie. When I first asked, he told me he likes. Hold on, I want to get this one right.
Yeah, get it right.
He said he likes Sister Schubert's yeast rolls, not just yeast rolls. Sister Schubert's yeast rolls.
What are Sister Schubert's yeast rolls? I've never heard of them.
What? Pete, where you living? Where you at?
Oh well, I'm an East Coast kid, but right now I'm in Central New York.
This is a
so that's yeah.
This is Publix world right here. So I'm down in. And so Sister Schubert's yeast rolls are amazing, first of all.
Okay.
All you need to do is put a little butter on the top of the whole tray, put it in the oven, bake it, and that can be Thanksgiving dinner for me.
Oh,
so,
nice.
So I'm a bread man. So Sister Schubert's yeast rolls, I'm a big deal. Apple pie, specifically the crust.
Okay.
I am notorious for being an apple pie crust bandit. You will find a whole pie sitting there.
Oh, you muted yourself.
You muted.
Sorry about that. You don't want to leave your pie out before dinner.
Willie, I know you. I know you. You know who you are? You're my cousin David. David, if you happen to listen to this episode, you're Willie. You are Willie. David used to eat all the top. Look, he used to eat the top of the cornbread off. He used to eat all the corners and edges of like brownies. He used to, the worst. All the crust on the peach cobbler. Like we just wanted to eat juice and cobbler. I mean juice and peaches. That's you. Okay. That's all right. And it was what's your third?
My third, if I have to have a third, it would probably be the mac and cheese. Like I will eat turkey anytime and get my tryptophan fix and pass out somewhere. But I'm a sucker for mac and cheese. I'm a sucker for the yeast rolls and any kind of apple pie, any kind of crust on an apple pie. I will bake an apple pie to eat the crust and give you the pie.
I don't want the part that has nutrients. I don't want any of that.
Just carbs.
I'm not mad at that. All right. Last question for you. Oh, no, go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, I was going to ask you. Yeah, have you ever had the crumble apple pie with the crumble on the top?
Yes.
Because that is. My wife makes that, and it is so good, and it's like
delicacy.
It's a delicacy. I'm not mad at it. Willie, do you do the? Now, I'm not. Now, listen, my family's from the South too, so this is why I'm asking this question. I know it's a regional thing at times, and it might not have gotten over to South Carolina. But do you melt a piece of cheddar on top of that pie? Have you ever done that before?
No, but I am also the most vanilla eater, the pickiest. My ice cream is vanilla ice cream. Don't bring me chocolate. Don't bring me strawberry.
Oh, you hurt me.
Okay. Some mustard, ketchup, cheese. If it grows out of the ground, don't put it on my hamburger. I'm a very basic eater. So,
okay. All right, Pete, you're up. What are your three?
Yeah, it's funny. I think I may have misinterpreted the assignment because I wasn't sure if this was like Thanksgiving or Christmas because they're two very different meals where I'm in my family.
If you want to give both, give them both.
Okay, I'll tell you what. I'll start, and if I'm rambling on, I'll stop. But basically, like I figured this as being appetizer, main course, dessert. So for appetizer, I went with my mom. I'm mostly Italian. My mom makes this sausage bread, and basically what it is, she basically takes like pizza dough, puts in like cooked sausage and like mozzarella cheese, folds it up, bakes it, and it is unbelievable. It is amazing. You can make a meal out of that.
You need to mail down here to Florida.
It's unbelievable. And sometimes she'll put pepperoni in it. It's great. Like I'm looking forward to Christmas Eve just to have that bread. It's funny in terms of a main course. I know turkey. I do like Thanksgiving. I'm a turkey guy, mac and cheese guy, stuff. I like all that stuff. But when I think of the holidays, again, I think of my mom, and my mom makes a spinach and sausage lasagna that is amazing. And it's just I'm not a cheese guy personally. I do like mac and cheese, but I do not like a lasagna that is just like a chunk of ricotta cheese and just like a noodle and a noodle. Just turns me off. My mom makes it in a way that is just delicious. And I tell you what, going back to the dessert with Willie, I was mentioning the apple pie before. My wife makes and my mother-in-law they both make this crumble apple pie, which is like the butter. Like the butter crumble on the top, and then the butter crust. It's amazing. I mean, you have that with some vanilla ice cream. You're good to go. So those are the first three things that came to mind when I think about the holidays. I mean, again, I'm a Thanksgiving guy. I love myself a Thanksgiving sandwich day after. But when I think of the holidays, I kind of go Italian. That's where my mind goes.
I'm going to be honest with you, Pete. I've normally been a traditionalist, but I kind of want to fly. I need Mama Corrado's, that bread. I need that, that sausage lasagna. I need all of that. Man.
Yeah. My mom will also like makes a chocolate cake that's just it's the best chocolate cake I've ever had. It's crazy. Yeah. I don't know.
So-
It's amazing. It's amazing. I wasn't wheeled down here. Like I'm just like, but yeah. I come from, my mom's a great cook. My wife's a really good cook, and yeah, so here I am, not hospitalized is, amazing.
You live a good life. You live a good life.
I tried.
All right. So for mine, I'll keep it simple. It's mac and cheese for sure. I'm blessed that the folks in my family, several of them can make it. Several of them can't, but we're not gonna say that on. We're not gonna call out names. Gotta have mac and cheese. The one thing I'm gonna let me just make this: turkey is not overrated. And I'm speaking generally now. You just haven't had good turkey if you don't like it. Grease your turkey, butter it up, season it up, cook it upside down for the first 2/3 of it. Flip it over, brown it at the end. It's succulent. That white meat is no longer dry. It's fantastic. But that's not one of my three. That's just that I'm just giving out game. All right. So my second one is dressing. Much like Willie with when it comes to crust, much like don't leave dressing around me, and don't let it be spicy on top of that, because I'm going through. Y'all seen that clip about with Denzel where he's been interviewed where he's like, I'm leaving with something. I'm from around the way. I'm leaving with If you leave your pan of dressing and it's spicy in front of me, I'm leaving with something. Just know this. All right. And then my third, I'm gonna go peach route. Dessert wise, but I'm gonna cheat because I'm gonna throw a couple different desserts in there, and you guys can do the same if you want. Peach cobbler, because I'm gonna be honest with you, the folks in my family, we do that. Throw some bluebell on top. Whether it's vanilla bean. I'm a chocolate guy. I'm that guy. But peach cobbler. My Aunt Holly, she's getting a shout out by name, so it must be real. She makes a carrot cake that is no joke.
Ooh. Sometimes
around the holidays, she puts a little rum in there, and we can, it's a good time. I'm trying to think. Last but not least, I am that nasty folk that still likes pecan pie. I know it's bad for you. I know it's terrible for you, but you give me a good piece of pecan pie, and I'm a happy camper.
Good lineup. I got to ask you guys real quick. The mac and cheese. What do you want? Anything in it? Do you just want straight up mac and cheese with like? How do you want it? Because there's this clip going around the internet. I don't know if you saw this. It was on TikTok of somebody saying like, "Oh, my husband got this mac and cheese like down south. So it was the best that he ever had. It was just an atrocity, but it included raisins in it, which just to me was like." Yeah. Okay.
No.
Look.
No, I'm just a messenger. I'm just a messenger.
100%. This happens though, and this is becoming the norm. And I'm gonna tell you, Pete, you have opened this up for us. So I hope you guys don't mind if we go a couple minutes on this. But I'm just gonna say, stop putting random shit in traditional dishes. I know how that sounds.
It's called mac and cheese. Give me macaroni and cheese.
I don't even mind if you put a veggie in there, even though I don't want it in there. But do not put raisins in this stuff. Don't put raisins in potato salad. Don't put raisins in mac and cheese. Matter of fact, don't even put raisins in my regular just table salad. I don't want a garden salad to have raisins in it, even though sometimes it's all right. Anyway, I appreciate the question because truth be told, that it seems to be becoming the norm. But I'm gonna tell you right now, if I come to your house. Well, not Mama Corrado's house. I ain't gonna say anything. If I come to your, everybody out there, if I come to your house and you got raisins in some stuff that raisins should not go in, it's gonna be some table flipping.
I don't blame you. To me, mac and cheese should be macaroni, cheese, of typical lineup, breadcrumbs. That's about it.
Yeah. Well, there is a place in Lower Manhattan called the Mac Bar.
Yes, sir.
And they'll throw some meat in there, so they have like buffalo chicken, so mac and cheese with spicy chicken in it, like that I like.
Yeah, that's great. But is that at that point is that more of a casserole or is that mac and cheese?
At that point, that's like calling like all the inner fat boys, all the potheads, and all and all the drunks. No. I mean, but I'm here for that combination too.
That's good.
Despite what I just said.
Yeah.
All right, folks. Absolutely fantastic. This was a lot of fun. I really do appreciate it. Let's circle the room once again. Tell the folks where they can find you and all of your incredible content. Willie, lead us off.
So Hip Hop Hidden Gems, you can find us on iTunes, Stitcher, Castbox, and pretty much anywhere quality podcast can be found.
I like it. 19. That's 19 family right there. Mo?
Well, like Willie said, Hip Hop Hidden Gems, also Hidden Gems Golf. I almost combined them just now, called them Hidden Gems Hip Hop, Hip Hop Golf. But the golf show is on all the platforms that he mentioned, and some unsavory platforms as well, because I put it everywhere.
A man after my heart. I understand. Pete, close us out.
Yeah, basically you can find me on Twitter at Pete Croato, PETECROA, 2 T's as in Thomas O. If you want to buy my book From Hang Time to Prime Time, it's available at pretty much every major online and brick and mortar store. If you can, please buy from your local independent bookseller. If you want, autographed copies are available for sale at Odyssey Books in Ithaca, odysseybookstore.com. And if you buy the book, you like it, and you want me to send you a signed book plate, I'm happy to do that, and I'll send it to you for free. So just hit me up on Twitter, or I'm easy to find pretty much on most social media platforms.
All right, folks, just like we do at the end of each show, make sure you not only subscribe to their shows, buy his book, give them ratings and reviews, do all of that good stuff, give them 5 stars, give positive ratings, and if you don't, you're a punk. Thanks for watching.